Hi warrior, Nile Harris here. Are you a perfectionist? Well, it may be keeping you from achieving your ultimate greatness. And I'm going to share with you how to embrace your unique self. And I'm even going to share a little secret with you. Hi, I am Nile Harris, a life strategist, consultant, and speaker working with aspiring entrepreneurs and transitioning professionals to transform their passion and purpose into profit. And this week, I'm sharing with you why perfectionism is holding you back from achieving your ultimate success. But before we get started, I would love it if you would just take a moment to subscribe to my YouTube channel, turn on the alerts so you know when I post new content, and let's continue the conversation and connect and engage with one another on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter at I am Nile Harris, and also catch me on LinkedIn at Nile Harris. So, are you a perfectionist? It could be holding you back, and I'm going to tell you why it's holding you back, and I'm also going to give you some signs or signals that you might be a perfectionist and how to release that so you can embrace your greatness. But first, as promised, I'm going to share a secret with you. Come closer. Now, what I'm about to share with you, you might not want to come back to my channel after I say it, but I promise you I'm going somewhere with this. I'm not a huge Beyonce fan. Are you still there? Are you still with me? I am absolutely an admirer of hers when it comes to her business sense. She is about business. She is an empire builder, and I definitely am all on board and watching her move and shake through her business, through the business world, owning her materials, owning everything about herself. When it comes to her music, I am probably not her target audience, but I will say this. There are a couple of songs that I absolutely love, put on repeat. One of those being Pretty Hurts. Right? And it is a song about perfectionism. And I play that song to remind myself that being imperfect is perfectly perfect. And I came across this Japanese philosophy or way of thinking called wabi-sabi. And it's just basically means that you accept the imperfections in life, in yourself, in others, because it is that imperfection that makes things beautiful. It makes you beautiful, unique. It makes things unique. Like, think about leather. Have you ever bought a beautiful leather purse or bag or some sort of really fine leather material? And it always comes with this card, and it says that, given how they get their materials, treat their materials, that all of the materials or all of the products won't be exactly the same because of the uniqueness of the leather. But that uniqueness is what gives it its beauty. It's why you want it. And though we love for things to be sort of imperfect or unique, we often hold ourselves to a different standard. And that standard, it is what keeps you back from achieving greatness. By the way, I'm guilty of it too. I had a manager. I actually didn't consider myself to be a perfectionist. I liked to be excellent in everything I did. I liked my work product to reflect how much I cared, my attention to detail, but I didn't term it perfectionism until my manager one day got kind of upset with me, pretty annoyed with me, because I would take the simplest task, the presentation that was supposed to be a draft, and blow it up and make it perfect. I would rather be late than have something be imperfect. And when I sat down with him and he asked me what this is all about, it was an opportunity for me to explore exactly what it was about, because the issue was, it was telegraphing to my manager that I didn't know how to prioritize. And given that I was working in an environment, a very high-paced environment where the operational tempo was high, I was working with C-suite officers of a Fortune 500 company, and they would telegraph that I didn't know how to prioritize my work, that I just thought everything had to be perfect. And also, I was delivering late on things, but I would be like, but look, it's beautiful. This presentation is wonderful. Great. We don't need it anymore. We just needed a draft. And I got to the source of it. And that's going to be the first thing I want you to do when looking at why you need to be perfect. What is that drive for perfectionism? Not excellence, right? Because when we strive for perfection, we'll never attain it, but we can attain excellence. And so I do believe in being excellent in all things that we need to be excellent in. Like your hobbies, if you something that you just want to enjoy, you don't have to be excellent in that. The main driver for me was, as a Black woman in corporate America, and especially operating at such a high level in the organization, I felt I had no rooms for mistakes. And the learning is in the mistakes that we make. The learning isn't in being perfect. We grow from imperfection. When we get in there, we get messy and we do things, we grow, we learn. And if we were to settle for perfection as a species, honestly, we probably would still be running around hunting and gathering, because we were perfect, then, right? We were perfect. We could get food, we could run, we could build housing, we had fire. There was actually no reason for us as a species to evolve past that, but we did because we had more desires, right? So here's the thing about why perfectionism is holding you back. First, let's talk about the definition of perfection, or being perfect, because perfection has a definition, but honestly, it has no meaning. And to be perfect is one of the things, is to be absolute and complete, to make something completely free from fault or defect, or as close to complete as it possibly can be. Free from fault or defect? Oh my gosh. What? No. We are imperfect. So we are literally, the definition literally is unachievable as human beings. And when we start to focus on, well, how do I make this one little piece perfect? We miss the whole big picture. And when you miss the whole big picture, you miss opportunities for greatness. And let's think about some of things in the world that we would not have today, but for imperfection. One of my favorites, champagne. Champagne was kind of an accident. And, well, it's wonderful. We love champagne now, right? It's super expensive now, right? It was an accident. Insulin, penicillin, these life-saving medications, that's actually not even what they were going for. They discovered those things by accident, by being imperfect. Greatness was born from imperfection. Okay? Now, I want to go back to this concept of wabi-sabi for a minute, not to be confused with wasabi, that delicious treat, but wabi-sabi is looking inside of yourself and saying that my imperfection is perfect. I am perfect in my imperfection. And I don't need to be something else. I don't need to be, the perfect A student, right? Because this is ingrained in us from childhood. We have to be an A student. We have to have perfect attendance. We have to get 100% on that quiz. And then, 100% wasn't enough. Now we have to do extra credit. Now I want an A+. Now I want 100%, 110%. I want 100 on the quiz plus the 10 points, right? And then we're like sitting around, trying to do the math on how we can get above. Stop, right? That's when it started for us in school. And then social media kind of came in, right, and made it, a little bit more than that, right? Because now you have to be picture perfect. Your makeup has to be perfect. Your hair has to be perfect, right? But you don't, right? This was created for us, but there's actually no meaning behind it. So that's what I mean by perfection is a definition, but it has no meaning. What did it get you to always be the perfect student, the perfect spouse, the perfect friend, the perfect parent? What did it gain you internally, in your life, in your heart? What success or greatness? You know, you probably achieved success. Did you achieve greatness? Did you achieve something that transcends what was expected? And I want you to give up perfectionism and embrace your uniqueness. So I'm going to do a little test for you. You might be a perfectionist if the phrase "done is better than perfect" is the equivalent of "the call came from inside the house." I don't know about you, but that movie is the scariest movie line I think I've ever heard. The call came from inside the house. What? I'm in the house. The call came from, I didn't call me. If your reaction to "done is better than perfect" is the same as that, you might be a perfectionist. Do people roll their eyes when you say you just need a few more minutes or you need a little bit more time? Like, did their eyes like practically roll to the back of their heads or pop up out of their skull? You might be a perfectionist. You might be a perfectionist if, and I'm talking to you, if your business plan is still in your head and not on your computer or in your bank account. The way ideas work, the way the universe kind of works, lots of people are going to get similar ideas to you. The person who capitalizes on the idea is the one that moves first. If you are still waiting to be perfect, to be something, to launch that business or to learn that thing, to climb that mountain, you might be a perfectionist. You may be a perfectionist if you have been waiting to start going towards your goal. If you fill in the blank, because you're waiting to fill in the blank so that you can fill in the blank. So in other words, if you have a lot of fill in the blanks, you might be a perfectionist. It's okay, because I'm going to tell you how to stop, or at least how to slow it down, because you can't really stop, right? But you can recognize it, number one, and that's what we're doing now. Number two, you can embrace your imperfection. So I want you to think about what your superpower is. What is your unicorn way? And this is part of my coaching, by the way. And one of the things that I coach in my Warrior Life coaching program is I don't think or say or advise that wholeness is a synonym for perfection, right? Because I think sometimes we're hearing that as to be whole is somehow to be perfect, and it is not. We can be whole, we can be happy, and have gaps, right? Because Swiss cheese isn't whole without the holes, okay? You can be whole, be imperfect, because the gaps are what you're going to work toward to fill. You're going to learn things, you're going to experience things, and then as you fill those gaps, new gaps happen. It is evolution, it is transcendence, it is how we move and evolve mentally and emotionally. And one of the things I want you to do is think about what your superpower is. So quickly, I call it solving for the X factor. And I want you to quickly take a piece of paper and split it into 4 columns, however way, if you want to do it, landscape way. And on the first column, I want you to write down your skills. The second column, I want you to write down your talents. The third column, I want you to leave blank for just a moment. And then the fourth column, I want you to write down your successes or your results. Now, your skills are things that you can do. You can type, you can write code, you can take pictures. Your talents are those things that you do above average, better than other people. You take amazing photos that are in National Geographic. You write code that you have won awards for, right? I want you to think about those few things from your skill set that you do better than anyone else. Then on that fourth column, that last column, write your results. What are some of the things that you've achieve, right? You won an award for your coding abilities for an app. You won an award for your advertising abilities. You came up with a great campaign or a great concept. Now we're going to jump back to that third column, right? So you had skills, talents, a blank third column, and then your results. In that third column, you are going to explain how you used your skills and talents to achieve your results. And let me say it again. In the third column, write down how you used your skills and talents to achieve your results, because that is where you're going to find your common denominator or your X factor. Take it back to high school algebra, folks. You're solving for X in that equation. But that's how I want you to start thinking about embracing your superpower, your uniqueness. Give up this notion that you have to be perfect. And go for it, okay? And I'm always learning. I'm constantly learning, right? So hopefully, like with my videos, hopefully these videos have gotten better over time. I don't know. But everybody has something to learn, and I want you to know you are doing great. So let me take it back to Beyonce. And the line I love the most from Pretty Hurts is, "We shine a light on whatever's worst. Perfection is the disease of a nation." We shine a light on whatever's worst. That's the brain. That's a negative bias. We can't help that, but we can recognize it and overcome it. Perfection is a disease of a nation, but it doesn't have to be your disease. So that's it. I am Nile Harris. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, turn on the alerts. Let's continue this conversation at I am Nile Harris on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Join me on LinkedIn as well at Nile Harris, and I look forward to seeing you soon, warrior.